It is June 25th, 2018. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
Congratulations, Dan James.
Did she have it today?
No, but by the time this goes up tomorrow, she will have.
Yeah.
Or at least be knocking on the door.
Yeah. I am Tim Herbin. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, my freshly groomed co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley.
How's it going, man?
It's going, yeah. But to your point, no Dan James here tonight because his wife is close to giving birth to baby number 3. As Kevin said, congratulations to our dear friend, our dear co-host, Mr. Dan James.
However, you can reach out to him on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Twitter, it's his name, no vowel, so DNJMS. Be sure to give him a congratulations, send him your love, and best wishes. He'll be in and out. Hopefully he can do some of those After Dark segments. Or no, there was another name that was brought up.
The Short Corner.
The Short Corner, that was it. Yeah.
I like the Short Corner.
I
think that's a great little title for a soccer show that goes 20 minutes where Dan seems to get dejected at a certain point, gets really analytical, and I think kind of pulls himself out of it.
Yeah, I like it. My favorite is just hearing the rustling of papers halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, to Kevin Brown's point in the trap, our road correspondent, Kevin Brown, saying, you guys got towels there, right? Just deliver it there.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I've learned that from movies. That's all that you need. It's very true. Thank you, guys.
That'd be a real great live show.
Oh, God. The aftermath. That would be so bad. That would be so bad. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you guys watching on YouTube in the trap, thank you guys for joining us. If you guys are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification icon so that you guys know whenever we go live. We will indefinitely be moving to 8 o'clock every Monday. With Dan out. So yes. When the Dan's away, the boys will play. Yeah, that's the appropriate. Anyway, if you guys are watching live in the trap, make sure you hit the little thumbs up icon. Help us get found in the live stream trending, whatever.
However those things work.
Yeah, I don't know how algorithms work, but hit the little thumbs up. We see them kind of shooting up.
There we go. So, fun week. We got some housekeeping as always. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it again, which you guys listening on iTunes have probably already heard by now. Be sure to go check out Away Days Football, our sponsor. Spelled the American way, FOOTBALL.com, and use promo code HBefore-D for 15% off. Really cool company. We're really happy to be partnered with them and everything that Martin does over there, particularly the mystery kits. For $25, get a mystery kit from teams all around the world.
I know some of you guys in the trap have mystery kits. Let us know, what mystery kits did you guys get? I know a couple of you off the top of my head. I know Kevin Brown has a Malaga jersey. I think that Keith Filer got a Dinamo Zagreb jersey. I'm trying to remember kits. Sorry, we're American, but we need to be more elitist. They're not jerseys, they're kits.
I feel weird because I saw other versions of the Real Sociedad jerseys going out, and all I wanted was just another one of those.
Yeah. Hunter Gwynn, who's joining us again, he joined us for the Jeff Lorenowitz interview meet and greet. If you guys haven't listened to that, make sure that you guys hit that up.
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's like the last, if you guys really want to skip, we had some good interviews. Kevin held it down. I had a business call at the first 20 minutes of the show. So Kevin brought on Scott from the security team with Atlanta United. He came and sat with Kevin. Had a great little interview.
Trinidad from Elder Tree. If you guys aren't familiar with Elder Tree Pub down in East Atlanta Village, where we've been kind of calling home base for away games, they're doing World Cup watch parties for every game. Check out the talk with him, talking about their tailgates and stuff that they do. Tailgate going on this weekend, actually.
Yeah, for sure. I will be there, and I'm not sure. Some special guest hosts. I don't know yet. I'm kind of scrambling. I'm scrambling right now. No, but to the Away Days football point, Hunter Gwynn got a Panathinaikos jersey. He got the Brahma Pokarna jersey that I got.
Right on.
A couple other ones. So, yeah, if you guys go there, awaydaysfootball.com.
Noah bringing 10 people deep this weekend from South Carolina.
That's what I like. That's what I like to hear.
I love it.
Use the promo code HB4D. That's HB, the number 4D for 15% off of your purchase. $25 mystery kits. You can't go wrong with that. Hey, Michelle. Michelle's in the live in the chat.
I feel like it would be. It's not really fair for us to talk about England, and I don't want to. So in Dan's absence, we can say who knows which reason why we don't talk about it. But it's not fair to him, and it's not fair to you guys because we don't want to talk about things that we don't want to talk about, and you don't want to hear us talk about things that we don't want to talk
about. Yeah, we got a couple people. Elliot Beaven really wants. Yeah, we have a nice British contingent that listens to the show, watches the show.
Absolutely. What else we got?
Some other housekeeping. The top 5 in fantasy. Let's go ahead and breeze through this.
Oh, that's right.
We had number 1, John F. Beasley with stats and trends. Kevin Gorham, Varvar Binks in number 2. David Benson, dog for him at number 3. Adam Lewis, a.k.a. Claremont Lounge FC, where dreams are made. And then Jackson Popkin, number 5, with Darren Eels' Dream Team. Another housekeeping note, I cannot apologize enough. The World Cup Prediction League thing that we put up along with the Atlanta United prediction, the plugin that we use to do it, it really didn't mesh well having multiple leagues. Apparently, you can only have one person per league or one league per person. So I'm going to have to take down those. So I'm going to have to take down the World Cup games. I really wanted to do it. I apologize for anybody who filled those out. So
we'll get some stickers. If you did fill something, we've got the information. We'll try to track you guys down with some stickers or something to at least make up for it a little bit. Speaking of which, other housekeeping note, all of the prizes and drawings for those that contributed funds to the Clarkston FC Soccer in the Streets campaign, we will be doing those at the end of the show. So stick around. We'll be sure to read those out on the show, and we will track you guys down one way or another and make sure that you get a hold of those prizes and stuff. Thank you to everybody who contributed to that. It was an awesome turn of events, and between us and Unrelegated, the Home Before Dark family, I think we raised $6,800,
something crazy like that. Yeah.
So it was a really great showing, and that was definitely in all parts due to you guys. So thank you so much for that, and we'll be sure to do that at the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll have the Home Before Dark prize packs going out with things like stickers, print from Angie for the Kings of the South,
roughneck
scarf, and then
we're gonna do vouchers for the hats. We'll reach out to you guys because we have so many different styles and stuff. Nice segue into checking out Get Home Before Dark /shop. If you want a Home Before Dark hat, if you guys don't get to get one out of the prize pack, check that out. All kinds of styles, colors, different graphics and stuff. Hopefully we'll get some new stuff in the store to bring out the summer line, the summer collection here in the next month or so.
Ooh, I like that. Does that mean tank tops? I'm not tank ready though. I have tank goals, but I'm not tank ready.
You better be by August 19th.
Ooh,
that Columbus game, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air tanks are coming out.
I'm going to be in a boot. I don't know. Shit.
It's going to be a sight.
So we're going to be a surgical boot. Oh God, that's bad. I'll show it.
You'll be Percocet Tim and I'll be Birthday Kevin.
God.
It'll just be, it'll be great.
Yeah. Everybody in the Crucible better beware because Percocet Tim's back. All right. Any other housekeeping items? Romario Williams will be out at Elder Tree on Wednesday for a signing and a meet and greet at 2:00 p.m. Eastern time. That's in EAV, East Atlanta Village. That's the Elder Tree Public House. Check it out and go get your Romario Williams stuff signed. Go meet the guy. I'm sure he's awesome. We unfortunately are not going to be able to be there. And as Kevin said, come to the tailgate. I'll be over there with Elder Tree. Kevin, you are missing Orlando Hate Week, and I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Sucks big time.
It doesn't, though, because you get to see family you haven't seen in a really long time.
That's true. That's true. But I'd be remiss if I wasn't disappointed in some way that I couldn't be a part of it. However, at this point, it's either way, it's almost like I'm not going to feel bad either way. If we lose, they kind of need it. They need something at this point. They did break their record. They broke their win record with their new loss record, which is really cool for Orlando. Seven straight.
They said, "Here's 6 wins. Watch this."
Not 7 straight unbeaten. 7 straight beaten. So
I like that. It's not winless. It's a beaten streak. Because really it is. It's not a winless streak because they haven't had any draws. It is a 7-game defeated streak.
So they need a little something to cling to.
We have gone defeated over the past 3 months.
So either we win, all is great, or they win and they really need something to cling to because it's just getting pathetic at this point. So either way, I'm bummed to miss it. Maybe I can make it down to the away game. I almost I hate to say it, but I almost want Orlando to win so that the last game of the 3 series is actually something on the line. Because if we win, we're up to 2-0, and then the third one
get
is
out of
nothing.
my face with that.
I'm searching for storylines here, because what's the storyline whenever you go out and beat a team that's lost 7 straight and you make it 8?
Yeah, I don't know. We got World Cup zucchini in the trap right now.
Jesus, how is it got its own YouTube account now?
Does it have yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it does have I'm so stupid. It's commenting with a YouTube account. I'm like, it has a YouTube. That's how much of an astonishment I am that this thing has a freaking YouTube account.
Home Before Dark. The opinions and comments by World Cup Zucchini in no way reflect the ownership or opinions of Home Before Dark Network and its contributors. I feel like we need some sort of.
Oh, I'm loving some of the faces we're seeing in the trap, man. We have our normal crew in here, our faithful. We got, Bill Holcomb and Brittany S and Elliot Beaven, and we got Richard Gordon joining us. I feel like I've missed you the past few weeks, man. It's good to have you. One of the OGs, if not the OG on iTunes reviews. And then Robert Swick, the Swickster. It's been a while, man.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And Brian Diefenbach. We got the crew's all here for Orlando Hate Week, and we will get to that in about 30 minutes. After we talk Portland.
All right, so no better time to start talking
and
about
Tony
Portland,
Neitzel. Hey, they did, and Jay and Kelly, you guys pronounced Tony Neitzel's last name correctly whenever you read his review yesterday. It's one of the best people on earth.
Richard Gordon, Bill
Thank you for
Holcomb.
joining
You guys
us.
showing up big tonight. Thank you so much for showing out. We really appreciate it every week. That said, on to the show. So this week,
Dirty Bird person's watching on his Xbox. That's dedication.
it's fucking dope.
Yeah. That's dedication.
So this week, yesterday, which would be 2 days ago.
Can we not talk the Chicago? We're not going to talk the Open Cup match, right?
Okay, so let's at least briefly touch on it, right? So let's just do.
I didn't watch it. I ended up selling my tickets. We went and saw Logic and Kyle, and it was better than watching that team, apparently.
I think the only thing I want to talk about, and even though you didn't watch the game, you can talk about it. And we can talk briefly about it. I mentioned it just briefly at the broadcast at Elder Tree. I think the biggest takeaway from me of that game didn't even take place on the field. It's twofold. One, the people, really just one person, I might have saw 2 or 3, that came out of the woodwork after that loss and were ready to denounce Atlanta United altogether.
So was that you on our Twitter account asking about people selling season tickets?
That wasn't me.
That was Dan.
Who needs season tickets if not Dan?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I've been thinking about it this sounds shitty, but as an investment opportunity, sometimes it goes through my head. It's like, man,
should have bought a whole row.
Yeah, I should have. You think
Dude,
I could?
Could you imagine a Home Before Dark row?
Oh,
how
my
dope
God.
would that be?
All right, we're gonna start a Patreon account.
No, we need to just rally the troops. If anybody wants to relocate sections at the end of the year and try to get everybody from the podcast,
Dude,
start our own supporter section, essentially. Just name 104 or 117, wherever, and then everybody
Let's
pool
do
their
it.
efforts
Yeah,
to do
let's
that.
somehow figure it out. Let's push people out.
Yeah, so the guy that completely was ready to denounce Atlanta United because of an Open Cup loss, 1-0, which saw coming, mind you.
Yeah.
I guess a
mean,
team that had nothing to lose by doing that had just as easy a road to get to winning and threw everything at Atlanta, who was playing their youth. So fuck off. I'm not a fan of Atlanta just when they're winning, and that's ridiculous. And I can't imagine somebody selling their season tickets. It's just the kind of culture that we're in, where the most extreme attitude on Twitter gets the most response, and he got exactly that. I mean, people that were saying no or sell me your tickets or whatever, he got exactly what he wanted, which was attention. And so more power to you, but it's a ridiculous statement in and of itself. The other thing out of that, Tata mentioned that he went in with the intent to start youth players. He would do it again if he had the opportunity, and he plans to do it again next year. Which the subtext there is Tata's
going to be here next year.
Renew his contract, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah, sorry, USMNT, he's staying here. Well, I guess we could take Juan Carlos Osorio, so I'll be all right.
And the final thing, kind of in line with both of those things, look at a team like NYCFC. Hasn't won an Open Cup match 2 or 3 years now in a row.
Yeah.
and they're just as great and just as prominent in the league as any of the others that are at the top of it. So losing out of Open Cup, our hopes have not diminished or died in MLS or Supporter Shield or anything else, and the season will go on. So
yeah,
that's all I have to say about the game.
Okay. Yeah, to Tata Fett's point, he said, some of you dudes make it seem like we're Panama. We're not that bad. Yeah. And then Bill Holcomb saying, wait, Heineken isn't buying you guys a suite after Friday's 100 plugs that we put in? We are slaves to our corporate overlords. What do we have to say?
Look, we are appreciative to everybody who sponsors this show in whatever way possible, whether it's $3 Heinekens at Elder Tree Pub or awaydaysfootball.com using promo code H4D or Elder Tree Pub in general, or you guys who support us through your love and support. Support us through your love and support. That makes no sense.
Support us through our love and support. Okay. So can we start the Portland thing? People are talking about in the trap, and it's probably the most disappointing game, most disappointing thing to come of this match. And that was Darlington Nagbe's injury. People are asking, Elliot Beaven asked how he got injured. And to Tony Neitzel's point, it did look like a non-contact injury. I didn't see any collision or anything like that. No. I haven't rewatched the game, but live, whenever we were there, it did not look like anything happened.
I rewatched portions of it today, and I didn't see anything.
And Brittany says they say it may be or might be a muscle abductor. So, which kind of sucks because when you think about how long Tito was out with that area, that was Tito, right? At the beginning of the year that was dealing with that. Yeah. Yep. So hopefully we don't have to deal with that same week in, week out in what's the insecurity of knowing whether or not he's going to be, or that doubt knowing that he's going to be ready or not.
So first thing to open up about Portland game, as always, the lineup gets announced. We're going to the 4-back.
And no Tito. Surprising.
And no Tito, which was a surprising turn. However, throughout the run of play of the game, I'm more and more liking Tito at least in a regular super sub position, because that was the biggest issue with him not starting, was he was nursing the injury. So not only was he not starting and not available, but he wasn't even available as a substitution. And you see him coming in the 65th and 70th minute and completely changing the pace of the game and what opportunities are being created and how.
My thing, though, is he's not necessarily a change of pace or change of gameplay type or mentality type of player. So it's not like he is what Romario Williams is or what Kenwyn Jones used to be last year. Whenever you'd bring him in, it would kind of change up the style of play. He really was a like-for-like sub. Even though we moved Gressel in, he really took over Gressel's position.
Yeah.
And he played along that same line. So it's not as if we were really shifting to create some sort of new dynamic on the field. With that said, I'm cool with him being a super sub for right now. I think my concern right now is that he's not maybe 100% match fit. I mean, you think he would be at this point, but
I've seen nothing that says that he's not match fit. What do you mean?
What I've seen that says he's not 100% match fit to play a full 70 or 90-minute game is that he's not starting. And I understand that Gressel's been standout and one of the best wings in the league this year, but at the same time, and I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, and I got laughed at on the Dirty South Soccer page for, not I was talking about how, and this will get to a point later, about how at some point I felt like, what do we got?
I don't know what we got. Who is this? Somebody's calling me.
3 lions on a shirt.
You bet that.
I can't believe that baby's talking already.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah.
Me dreaming.
Dan,
hi guys.
If that baby's not born, you better hang up.
You got the towels ready? You boiling water?
Yeah, we're sitting on go. It looks like it's going to be Wednesday.
Wednesday? Well, I take back my congratulations for tomorrow because it's going to be early now.
That's all right. You can give it to me later.
So,
how about that performance, man? I've never even seen England score 6 goals before.
Oh,
that's amazing.
We haven't gotten the World Cup part. I'll just talk to you later.
So you're talking Atlanta United?
Yeah.
But no, I want you to talk about whatever you want to talk about, Dan. World Cup, I'm really excited for England, for you. Hell of a showing this weekend.
Just join the bandwagon. I thought, well, it was like, how does a 6-1 victory feel like a loss? With Paraguay scoring that goal at the end was kind of annoying and putting us
Panama
down on par with Belgium. But
he means Panama.
Performance. I've never seen England so organized. I'm not used to that type of organization. I'm not used to guys like John Stones being able to.
It's pretty cool whenever you're playing high school teams in your group stage.
Incredible.
I really like that England got to play all high school and college teams in group play.
What was that?
I said, I'm really glad England got to play high school and college teams in group play.
Well, so did Spain and Portugal. So,
boy, that Spain game today was all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I'm really disappointed now they play 2 games at the same time.
Well, it's like the last day of the Premier League.
It's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you just can't have people tailoring their performance based on how they with rivalries and all that. You can't have people tanking whenever they know they're going to the next round, winning the group.
Yeah. I heard rumors that Gareth Southgate might be sitting Harry Kane for this next round, but I hope. I mean, I don't want him to get injured, and I think Jamie Vardy's probably a pretty legitimate replacement. But I afraid, if England go conservative, we're just going to lose, and it's all going to fall apart, and then the media will be calling for Southgate's head, and it won't even matter, but nobody will realise, and it's just everything's going to fall apart, and I'm so nervous of that happening. Everything just needs to stay the same. I watched the game with my brother-in-law. He's going to Africa on Wednesday. I've told him, you got to cancel your flight. You're going to have to watch the game with me. I'm wearing the same clothes that I wore on Sunday. People at work started telling me I started to smell, but it's just a couple more days.
Gross.
But nothing can change. Nothing can change.
Nothing can stop him.
Yeah. I think I might have to try and convince my wife to keep the baby in until the end of the World Cup, just to make sure the conditions don't change that much.
Yeah, Kendrick Brock is asking the real questions, Dan. He says, if England wins, will you rename your newborn Harry Kane?
Oh, I've already done it.
All right, so real quick, we're just getting into the Atlanta-Portland matchup. What were some of your positives and negatives for the game?
So I'll start with a negative, I guess, because it was the biggest point I thought is because we did so many crosses. What do we have, like 20 crosses or something ridiculous?
That's pretty much all we had.
No, it was. I believe it was 50.
3 through balls. So I feel like we need to balance up, switch our strategy around every now and then. I'm not saying go away from the crosses because Joseph can get up to them, but you gotta play. You can't just go lopsided on one play when it's not working. So it was kind of frustrating. I mean, didn't we still dominate, like, stats-wise at least? I know it was
it was 70% possession for Atlanta.
Yeah, so,
20 shots.
I watched, like, the second half, and it was a pretty intense game. I remember at the end of the half, I was just thinking, gosh, I wish this game would just end now, because Portland seemed to be getting the upper hand a little bit. So that was kind of frustrating. But so I'll go on the same bandwagon with a bunch of folks. I want to see the chance creation actually happen. The finishing, I feel like I'm parodying a lot of people, but the finishing will come, but at least the chance creation is there.
Is it, though?
So what's your positive? Because that was all negative. What's your positive from the game?
Positive, I thought Barco actually was a little bit of a bright spark.
Tim is going to rage whenever we get off the phone.
Well, I mean, he had there was 2 dangerous points that I saw was when Escobar, well, he was called from offside, but he got behind, chested it down and was pushing it back out to I think it was Tito or Martinez. But then Barco played like a really cheeky through ball that beat the whole defense, and Almiron just couldn't get behind it. It was kind of like Tito's equalizer against Orlando City in the Barbadad Stadium.
So Dan, let me ask you a question real quick. You can hear me right from here?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the criticisms of Miguel Almiron is that you don't play him on the left wing because he's wasted there, right? Where he might get a lot of the possession, he might dribble a lot, play good 1-2s and all that. He's often wasted on that side, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I prefer him more centrally, but
right. So
they're going to rove around.
So for all intents and purposes, Ezequiel Barco is going to be, or was brought in to be, some sort of heir apparent to Miguel Almiron, right? In some way, shape, or form, because Miguel is going to be on his way out at some point. Barco is 18 years old. He's got a few years with us probably before he heads to Europe. And he was supposed to be, if I recall correctly, whenever we had Jason Longshore over here before the season started, before the preseason started, he's supposed to be more of a 10 and not playing out on the left wing. And I wonder, my criticism of him is maybe not so much all on him, but it seems as though maybe he needs to be playing more centrally, because right now it seems like a lot of that momentum that gets built up on that left side with him seems to kind of stop or get stagnated and go backwards, or to go laterally rather than going forward or probing in, where he was supposed to be a guy to unlock a defense like Portland threw at us yesterday. He really wasn't that, but maybe his positioning really wasn't that. I mean, it wasn't really meant to be that player yesterday, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, situations change, and it was largely, I don't know if Atlanta United actually came out and said, yes, he is the replacement for Almiron, but I think situations change, and I believe it was something largely built on the assumption that he is the heir apparent to Almiron. I think that it's really the rest of the team that are not being fast enough to give him options. Because I think when he's dribbling around and trying to make headway, but then he ends up passing it back off, I don't think there's all that many people getting into a position where they can help him get to a point where he can help unlock that defense.
Right. For me,
the one situation that I just recited with him giving that through ball to Almiron is what we want to see more of him do. And I think it's largely the pace of the team that hasn't been there that has allowed him to grow into that role yet. But it's still early with him. I don't expect him to just come in and be handed the reins and be able to be 100% success, even though are we halfway through the season yet?
Yeah.
So I think it's time. I think we need to give him, if at the end of next season it's still the same, then I'd be in the position of, okay, this is probably not working out how we intended.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let me bounce off of here so I can put my hand down. This is the longest. This has been my workout for the day. It's just holding.
One last question. Important question from Bill Holcomb. How long or how far does England make it?
I can't even go there.
Spoken like a true asshole.
It's like it's based on my whole life of being disappointed by England. My whole life. This is the first time where I'm actually excited to watch an England team play, and to have it's a weird feeling that I kind of have a little bit of confidence, and like a candle against a hurricane, I am deathly afraid that it's just going to get snuffed out immediately and everything is going to fall back.
You're so quick with those, Dan.
Into complete purgatory.
Score prediction for Orlando game.
Isn't that horrible?
What does that mean?
2-2.
2-2? Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So, what are your guys' predictions? Are you not there yet?
We haven't even started talking about the game yet, Dan. You just took the whole podcast and ran with it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, everyone.
We got through housekeeping and we're literally about to start talking. And Dan goes, "Don't worry, guys. I got this."
I just had to come on and talk about England. Such a great performance.
All right, man. Go have that baby, and we'll see you soon.
All right, see you guys.
All right, later.
All right, well, that's the show. We'll see you guys next week. As always, be home before dark.
My job here is done.
Yeah.
We started talking about Tito right before Dan called.
Okay, so to Bill's point, he says that Tito played all 90 minutes against Chicago, and then Tata Fett says that according to Tito is still feeling uneasy about his injury, and he doesn't want to re-aggravate it. He's still not feeling confident in it. Yeah, it was a muscle injury, right? So that's not something you necessarily want to go balls to the wall with, especially a guy who plays as hard as he does. Playing twice in a week is probably not the best thing for him, but at the same time, it probably was by design. What do you think? So, all things considered, so Tito's how you think that was Tata's first choice 11 if Tito was 100% match fit yesterday?
In a 4-back?
Yes.
If Tito's match fit. Yeah.
If he's 100% match fit in the groove and everything, yeah. Okay. See, I see it a little differently. And
because you still need, against that matchup, I think that, so Tito's naturally going to be more aggressive, right? Can we at least say between Tito and Gressel that Tito is going to be the more aggressive forward pressing of the two? I think Gressel's going to be more defensive. Can we say that?
I can give you the last part. I think that Gressel is just as aggressive, just in a different way. I think Gressel usually is just trying to get to that touch line to put a cross in, whereas Tito is being really aggressive to push inside more than Gressel is. But.
So let me put it this way. Over the course of play, who is going to press higher on the field, Tito or Gressel?
Tito, for sure.
Okay. So the reasoning behind why I think Gressel was, even if Tito was match fit, and why Tito's involvement has diminished so much is if you look at the course of the game yesterday and even some of the positional heat maps of all the players on where they ended up playing positionally throughout the game, we still ended up essentially in a 3-back. And 8 of our players...
At least for the first half, right?
No, it's for the full game.
You think so?
Yeah, I can prove it.
Oh, yeah, just position. Yeah, match.
I was thinking it, and then as these things go, I start thinking something, and I start saying it, and either I sound like a jackass or some of it ends up happening to fall true. One of the things that Atlanta has done, because it has so many weapons, and why the 3-back has been utilized so much, is because the entire team is pushing forward so much more as a result of that. So Gressel is going to fall back naturally towards midfield and maybe even fall back defensively to cover Escobar if he's not there. The issue with Tito is if you're still going to end up lending yourself to a more 3-back scenario, now you're really exposing yourself to the counters. And that's what really is Atlanta's weakness right now with the 3-back, is that all of the players surging so far forward are reliant on a hesitant Jeff in midfield or Escobar that can't track too far forward to get exposed or have to book it all the way back on a counter. And that's where some of those opportunities have started to be created, is because we have so many weapons. That's also what's creating such massive holes in the midfield. And that's where, we can talk all day. And I think Dan has great points about, and that was my biggest takeaway offensively last night, was that, and what I've talked about in weeks past, is that we've gotten so one-dimensional. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago against, it wasn't NYC, it was somebody where we made this whole conversation about how it was a really balanced attack, how it was really 33 split attack. And then you look at games like last night and the past couple of weeks where it is predominantly determined by the wings, and we're distributing either out to the right wing and relying too much on Gressel, and then everyone wants to say, wow, Gressel was really inconsistent. Same thing in games where we end up playing more defensively and more passes get dropped back to Guzan and his distribution isn't 100% of the time. You start to notice those weaknesses more because you're having to rely on those opportunities more. And I think that might be where some of your issues come up with Barco last night, was because last night was a very left wing centric play. And it has been over the past couple of weeks. And I think that's where Barco is getting lost, is where the right wing has become self-sufficient. Almiron is drifting over to the right, but he's not staying over on the right. It seems like he's constantly staying over on the left to back up Barco and to make up for Barco's lack of development or youth or inconsistency, whatever it may be. And then you add into that mix Mikey Ambrose versus the right wing, where Escobar is more than capable, Gressel's more than capable, and between the two of them, they can pretty much run the show, and then they have Nagbe kind of filling in on that right mid side of things, versus the left, where it's Ambrose, Martinez sometimes, Almiron and Barco, and you're just so loaded. And what's happening is the whole field is shifting one way or the other, but nobody, it's all getting lost in the midfield because Miggy's not doing what we want him to do, where he's consistently roaming left and right. He's leaning too far one way versus the other.
So you think that's just to supplement some sort of inconsistency, or not inconsistency, but a lack of development on Barco's part?
I think so. Or
does he just link up better with Barco, you think?
I think he links up better, and it's his natural foot. But that's been the biggest issue with Almiron since day one, right? Is that he leans so heavily on his left foot. And we've always said he's much better tracking right to left on the field than he is on left to right.
Right.
And so with Barco, somebody that can actually distribute the ball to Almiron's predominant foot, you see Almiron's inconsistency almost rear its head, where he's getting too lenient to wanting to be on the left side because he has a player that can actually distribute it to him consistently in a 1-2 passing scenario.
Right. It leads to like an aimless triangle of passes that happens on the left side that just ends up. And by the way, according to WhoScored.com, it's 35 crosses yesterday. 35.
Yeah. So, and again, hear me out. I think what Barco will start to lend himself to and start to develop is that what Barco has that I don't see as consistently out of Miggy is that he is comfortable with the ball at his feet, whether he's moving left to right or right to left. And that's where, to your point about Barco being heir apparent to Miggy, he needs to be more centrally. And I think
so too. Yeah.
And it just kind of goes against everything that this team is built around, with Miggy being central versus being on the left wing. It's never going to happen, but I would be curious to see what would happen if those two players switch positions.
So I'm not saying this.
I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it necessarily should, but that's where.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you have, as much as I hate to say it, the World Cup zucchini saying move Miggy to the 8 now that Nagbe's out right now. Move Barco to the 10, and then Tito on the left wing, Gressel on the right wing. That is a scary lineup to me.
Yeah.
Because you can attack from every single position. Miggy is fast enough, and he can cover enough ground to get back on defense. I really like what Patrick Hansel, which I don't know if I've ever seen him in the trap. If not, welcome. He's saying, to get Carlton some more minutes, can we slide Barco to the 10, Miggy to the 8, and Andrew Carlton on the left wing? So where does that leave Tito? On the right? If so, where does that leave Gressel?
I think Gressel ends up going and filling in for Nagbe, which is what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Gressel came in. He played central. I think that's okay. I mean, that would be Carlton, I think, is the next player up to play left wing. Absolutely.
Right, I think so too.
But at the same time, I don't see why Carlton gets a start over shifting Gressel central and then putting Tito over on right wing. You know, fix one problem at a time rather than everything at one time.
No, yeah, I get that. It's interesting. Okay, couple things. I think we don't have okay, I was about to say this a few minutes ago. I'm not saying this because I long for his presence on the field and that I'm just hooked for nostalgia or anything, but Yamil Assad was the closest thing to a true left winger that we've had. Right? Even he was more of just a midfielder, attacking midfielder, but he did a great job on either side. He wasn't great at crossing the ball, but then again, Barco on the left side still has to cut in on his right to cross the ball in. So Assad did a great job probing in more. He had a more consistent game going inside and out than it seems Barco does. Barco has, and it's youth. It's him fitting into the team. I'm not expecting him to be a superstar day one. He has had some great games for us, and he's had some games where it seems like he needs to maybe sit the last 20 minutes of the game or something like that. Yesterday, I know I'm a hashtag play your kids kind of guy, but yesterday seemed like a game that Andrew Carleton could have played the last 15 minutes for Barco. It seemed like a logical substitution to me, more so than did Sal Zizzo coming in for Mikey Ambrose.
Yeah.
Because that was a substitution that definitely didn't make a whole lot of sense, except for, I guess, Mikey Ambrose started to lose the plot a little bit in terms of getting bodied off the ball and all that, even though he held his own for a little too.
Ambrose had one of the most underrated and underappreciated plays in yesterday's game. It's a defensive play where the ball, LGP ends up getting the stop. The player's coming in towards the box. He gets inside the 6, takes a shot. LGP stops it. And Ambrose completely boxes out the next player running on.
Yeah.
And shields, not just shields the ball like players will traditionally do if the ball's going out of play, but shielded the man from making a play on the ball. And it went completely unnoticed or talked about. But that's what Ambrose gives you, is that a certain confidence. He's not going to be a world beater or some, but he's consistent and capable, and that's what we need. I mean, because you have so many weapons moving forward, you need somebody that's at least comfortable and confident to play positionally, and that's what Ambrose provides you. That's how Parkhurst has been able to shine so much. That's why LGP, I mean, these guys play their position and they stay tied into it, and every once in a while, I think LGP is probably one player that strays from it more so than any of the others, but more times than not, that's why we talk about Lorenowitz so much and why he's so solid, is because he knows he has a positional awareness of what he needs to do on the field, and he does it. And where some of the ambiguity comes into most players, I think, is where they're a left wing, but they're also they're a left wing back, and they're also kind of having to switch out with the 10, like Barco and Miggy, because they're having to move so much and do so much. Sometimes it's almost too many cooks in the kitchen. And I think that's what the 3-back is. And that's been why I've been the biggest opponent of the 3-back, is that, especially against NYC, we saw that, where the team got so compressed and they weren't able to move around and create space dynamically like what we would want to do. Whereas if you drop that 4th person back, you start to get play, because teams are naturally realizing that Atlanta is an offensively structured team. Yes, we have defensive weapons. Yes, we can defend. However, week in, week out, we're seeing it. Jeff talked about it whenever we talked to him, that they're either coming out super, super aggressive, which seems more times than not, but the consistent approach has been just to play defensively, wait for an opportunity to counter whenever they're on the 3-back, and then just punish us for it. Atlanta, in my opinion, should be shift as a result of that, should start to play the league in that way and shift to the 4-back to then try to draw teams towards our field to then counter with all those weapons, rather than the other way where we're just trying to impose our will constantly and then getting exposed to these quick counters by skilled players like Valeri did. I mean,
yeah, that's what worried me about yesterday is Armenteros is not, from what I could tell, he's not a very quick forward. It is unbelievably, it's astonishing how much ground and how quickly Diego Valeri covers it. He
Absolutely.
was everywhere yesterday. He was my man of the match, even though he's not an Atlanta United player. He was absolutely vital for them getting that 1 point, if not, almost getting them 2 more. But they don't have the speed up front that a team like Orlando does. I mean, you think about yesterday, how susceptible we were to counterattacks. You seeing those players being pushed out, falling in love with that triangle of passing Mikey Ambrose and Barco and Miggy up on the left and being exposed, leaving that back 2 almost, because we saw Franco Escobar go up 2 and leaving essentially a back 2 with Jeff in front of them to defend against that counter. You put Dom Dwyer at the end of that counter instead of Armenteros.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a recipe for disaster on Saturday.
You get one quick break with Yoshi I think Yoshi's out still. nonetheless, their entire team is structured for a counter, and Orlando. I mean, NYC on the road, their field had a lot to do with it, but the longest stretch of game this season where I've seen a team expose Atlanta's offensive tendencies.
Second half against Orlando.
Yeah. That makes me legitimately concerned about this weekend, knowing that Orlando's going to come out, play with their hearts on their sleeves, throw everything they have at us to try to save and salvage some sort of a season and try to regain some momentum going into the back half against an Atlanta team that that has not been playing its best game. Yes, they've been, either drawing or winning in some capacity, but not on a consistent basis where it's like you can't find any issues in the run of play. I think that there are real concerns about this weekend going into that game. Don't be fooled just by the losing streak at all, because they have weapons.
We talked about Mikey Ambrose. Unbelievably underappreciated. The first half made me not even think about or miss Greg Garza. Obviously, I miss Greg Garza, and I hope he's doing well recovering from surgery, but Mikey Ambrose did a great job in the first half. I harp on it a lot because I just hate seeing it. It's not so much wasted chances, but the amount of just bad shots that we take or we've seen a lot of people say it in the trap. And if you're in the trap, real quick, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube, please. It'll help us out. The crossing, we touched on it. 35 different crosses throughout the game. Just completely one-dimensional attack from us. And it's not even our best dimension. I mean, it wasn't. We put Romario Williams in the middle, maybe. I
just want to see crosses that aren't traditional crosses, because that's where the game started to open up for Atlanta yesterday. Traditionally, whenever I think about cross, I'm thinking about an air ball that's coming over from the wing. Somebody tries to get up and get a lot of that yesterday, or whatever. That's primarily the way Atlanta plays. Gressel every now and then will play one across the floor. Somebody might get a hand on it. Same thing. Miggy had one to Martinez that's just, one step out of pace. But the thing that I'm interested in that I think could start to remedy this lack of buildup in the midfield is, rather than playing the long ball from the wing, play crosses back to the top of the 18 centrally to get an open shot on Nagbe at the top of the 18.
Even Jeff.
To start, play a 1-2 with Barco to Miggy, but Barco shifts back over to the top of the 18. So the ball's not just going up in the air for a 50-50, but starts to have a way to then pull the defenses out from being so clustered inside the box, which is what our attack is forcing them to do. And then you start to bring them out of that shell a little bit with players like Nagbe or Barco that can get in, draw a foul, at least open up some space for a tighter 1-2 to create some goal-scoring opportunities in the middle of the field. The rest of it will remedy itself out. But I think that's where some of the play is lacking, is you don't really see any of those drops back to the top of the 18 from the top of the wings at all.
Yeah. Talk about this team was always going to be hard to break down. If you look at the player positions, if you take a look at this, Kevin, the furthest thing out they had, I believe, number 8 being Diego Valeri, and then they had Sebastian Blanco that were in the semicircle on our side of the field. Other than that, who's that on the Alvis Powell, also on the half line, and then everybody else behind. So essentially you're playing against 7 defenders the entire game, including number 99,
which
Armenteros.
Is going to naturally happen because that's what Atlanta's forcing them to do. And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to do that. There's ways, and we've said this a bunch, that we have the weapons to break down a bunker, but you've got to utilize them, and you've got to find a way to start to pull those defenses out so that the midfield can breathe a little bit to open up those quick through balls or long running routes to Martinez, rather than crazy balls from Parkhurst from the 45 all the way up. Those are the balls that we're feeding Martinez to get a break on now, because that's what we're having to rely on, because within 15 yards of Martinez, people are already double and triple teaming him.
Yeah, it is pretty insane. Michael Parkhurst was amazing yet again in this game.
I thought Escobar had a hell of a game.
I think so too.
He created multiple opportunities on offense, consistently tracked back on defense. Escobar has proved above and beyond that he deserves every bit of that starting right back position, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even talk about our score, right?
What do you mean our score?
Our goal?
Oh,
Julian
yeah.
Gressel scoring a great finish. He had a great finish off of a rebound.
Well, and he started that. I mean, he took the initial shot that ends up getting the deflection, and then it kicks back around.
Yeah, he did a great job to finish that. I was happy to see him put the ball in the back of the net. You could see him. He seemed very relieved, and he seemed happy to score. And
well, it was like the game slowed down for him for just a moment.
Yeah.
You saw, I mean, the ball comes out, and he takes just that extra half a second to really rotate his hips, get his center of gravity over the top of the ball and play it rather than trying to come level with it or sky it. He comes down on top of it just to get enough of that bounce to skip it in, which was great.
Yeah. To Derek Rushing's point, thanks for joining us tonight. He says Escobar is becoming my favorite player. He has the same hustle that makes me like Garza. I like that too. He is just as good, and he's a big wing back.
He is.
Or big right back. I mean, he's not even wing back, but he's able to get forward pretty well for a guy his size and to be able to track back and play defense. And, you know, he's convertible into a center back as well. What else to show from this game? To your point, you know, in the notes, Portland, 9 saves on us. So
again, you have to give some credit to those guys. I mean, just like we gave credit to Guzan for saving that NYCFC game, Portland, I mean, 9 saves on the game yesterday, not counting the 1 or 2 post shots that we hit. So, hell of a game for him.
Yeah. Now stop that header from Escobar. That was probably the closest chance we had to going in, other than Tito's rocket off of the post.
Yeah. Oh, I think the thing's still rattling.
Yeah.
And then Martinez just could not get the ball to fall his way. So speaking of Martinez, do you think that he plans his like, I'm going to get pissed and do this before the game starts?
I don't know. Was that
like, what do I got? I'm going to kick the fence. Well, then once I do that, what am I going to do? I'm going to rip it. I'm just wearing this mask just to be able to rip it off at a certain point and just get myself psyched.
Oh,
he's just injuring himself so that he has some like, impairment to be able to cast aside for the love of the game in the middle of it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, because we have Brittany and we have Richard Gordon, and they're talking about Joseph attempting the hand of God on that that dive for that deflection. I can't remember what that deflection came off of, but yes, he went arm out, head out, and I'm surprised
couldn't get to it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get called for a handball on that and get carded. That was pretty incredible, him trying to do that. Let's see. Tata Fed, I don't know. I feel like this game would have been just fine with a bit more luck. Any other day, Martinez would have made either of the 2 goals he missed with the header or beating the keeper.
To your point, Tata Fed, I think it could have just as easily been terrible with a little bit less luck, because there's 2 opportunities at least in the second half that Portland gets where they have a clear breakaway, catches Guzan off his line, chips him, just goes left of the goal. Another shot by Valeri that hits the top left corner. I mean, either one of those are just a couple inches to a foot on frame, and it's an easy give me. So
one thing I'm glad we're not mentioning this game, the referee. I thought he had a pretty solid game. I thought it was pretty consistent for most of the match.
Oh yeah. I didn't really have any issues with the officiating at all.
Let's see. Anything else from this game?
No, I think that's it.
I do find it interesting, and again, it's probably inexperience. I'd put this in here whenever you're looking at who scored in terms of the attacking players in their position and the ratings they give them based off of their statistics that they gather. That Barco has the lowest average rating of our attackers that play every game.
Interesting.
He is only above Kratz, if you consider Kratz like a regularly playing player.
Wow.
Out of that, it's not far off, right? I mean, he's not like drastically worse than anybody, but he is the lowest average rated player on their scale.
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, Tim.
I think so too.
I don't think that
I'm not saying like, I think we saw it with Gressel, and I know we got into arguments earlier today in our Slack channel about this, where I think it may be beneficial for him to sit out a game like Gressel did last year.
Yeah.
If you see that he's lacking confidence, he had a decent game yesterday. I still feel like he doesn't look as confident as he should, or that he has in previous games. I don't know.
I don't think that your criticism is unfounded or unnecessary by any means. And I think it's just a combination of a lot of different things. I think it's inexperience and youth and pressure And then also just where he's falling into the way that this offense is forcing. It's like they're almost containing him to that left wing where he wants to start moving.
They need
around.
to unchain him.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think so too. Give him a little bit more freedom to roam inside. You saw that whenever we played against Chicago, whenever he did he put in 1 or 2 goals? They scored both?
I think he just put 1.
He put in 1 in?
Yeah.
But still, it seemed like he had a bigger impact on that game, and at least in the first half. We kind of slagged off in the second half, but he was deployed more centrally, and he had more freedom. To Patrick Hansel's point, this is my biggest criticism of Barco. It's not inconsistency with his passing or anything like that. Is that this is what I'm talking about, this confidence. He does not shoot. Like we saw him shoot early on in the
2 last night that ended up catching early deflections. Like as soon as he took the shot, somebody got to step in on him. But yeah.
He's very gun shy, and I would love to see him feel more. And to Keith Fowler's point, let him be more like he was at Independiente. I think so. Just unchain him, let him kind of go buck wild on. We had people talking about instead of Sal Zizzo that Miles Robinson should have started, and that they would have loved to see him on that side. But the problem is, I don't even think Miles Robinson made the 18. He was out there with the team, but I think that
where does Miles Robinson start over the players that we put out there last night?
He doesn't, unless my thing is he can play a right back. I don't trust him over on the left side though.
He is more than capable as being Escobar's backup, but
he can play the left or the right 3 in the back.
The right third,
yeah. The right 2/3.
Yeah.
Or three quarters. I can't do math. But yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's about it for the Portland game. I thought it was a great game. I didn't see anything out of Portland that surprised me. I didn't think that they would overexpose themselves. They didn't. They capitalized on the opportunities that they were given. I told you. I'm saying, man.
I was saying that last time too, and Dan fed me some snake oil and.
Don't listen to that fucker. He's high on England fumes right now, man.
Oh my god.
He thinks every game's going to be a 5-0, 5-1, 6-1 game.
To Bill Holcomb's point, I think Brittany S put this in the live chat earlier on in the night that she misses McCann, and Bill Holcomb says McCann is on the left whenever he's healthy. I think that's pretty accurate. And from there, you can play him more defensively and give Escobar more of a license to roam instead of having 2 guys alternating, leaving those back 2 exposed.
Well, you could also pull McCann back defensively on left, and that gives Barco and Almiron a little bit more room to move up top.
True. Yeah, and then you have a guy who's, I don't know, in McCann who can cover that side and then can also give them a little bit of reinforcement, kind of push up, give them another, instead of being so tight in that triangle, give them kind of a further back option to open up that left side of the field.
So looking forward to Orlando game. Mind the Gap update by Robert Swick.
One last thing, I'd be remiss if I did not do this. My Angie's lovely mother, Judy, texts us during the game whenever Tito comes in.
Our mother, Judy.
And the text just says, in one word, Vito Vidalba with a music note. And I love it. I absolutely love it because so I took them to a game, her parents, I took them to a game against Houston last year whenever Angie had to work. And they latched on. They were asking me questions about everything. They were loving the game. Or maybe it was NYCFC. I think it might have been NYCFC. And anyway, they've latched on. They've watched every game. They text us to make sure they know what channel it's going to be and all this stuff. And yesterday, just knowing that there is Judy who probably hadn't watched soccer previous, and she's diehard, and she's getting excited whenever Villalba comes into the game. I think it's awesome.
That's what it's all about, man. Anyway,
I'm getting calls to put a ring on it in the chat. So we're gonna.
So, Mind the Gap update by Robert Swick at the Swickster.
Yeah, Iron Lion Firm, who's one of the big supporters groups down in Orlando, put a screenshot of their 7 straight losses with music notes that said, "Got that summertime sadness." And Robert Swick, our buddy, says that feel when an SG from the team you're mocking takes your image, and it's a screenshot of what Robert Swick had put up there. So, I think that's great. Yep, the Mind the Gap.
Okay. Archie Eversole got some images from the Home Before Dark page.
It's true.
It happens, Swick.
True. It does happen. That is for sure. So we have, let me pull up their run of form recently. We have, they again, we can't say this enough. They have won a game, right? They won in US Open Cup. So it's not like they haven't won at all over the past 7 games. They've won once to break up that losing streak. But again, in US Open Cup.
I think the biggest news is that there will be TIFO confirmed at this game. I know they have the Y'all Means All this week, but I think they're doing legit TIFO game this week.
Yeah, I love that tifo, by the way, and
That
the
was
shirts.
awesome.
The Y'all Means All
It was awesome.
That's a really cool like slogan and logo.
It was really cool seeing Lucas carrying in the spike too.
Hell yes,
that was awesome.
Yeah, he definitely deserves to carry that down. He's a great ambassador for Terminus Legion and for Atlanta United as a whole. Just good dude.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, Orlando coming up this Saturday, 7:30. Prime time.
My bad. Kevin Brown says they have 2 US Open Cup wins, so maybe they're okay. Like they've had a taste of winning recently.
They had the PK win against DC United, which again went to PKs against DC United, and then they had their win the first week. I forget who that was against.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But at the same time, maybe they're not feeling so down on themselves.
I don't feel great about this week, man. I'm going to be honest. I really don't. I think that and it's not a trap game per se. I guess you could kind of.
Right on cue. Right as Kevin says that, we get Kendrick Brock saying Orlando is a trap game.
I don't know if I would label it a trap game. I guess it could be misconstrued because of all the emotion that goes with this game. I think it's I think it exceeds the trap game label. You know what I mean? I think that both teams and players have bought into this being a rivalry at this point.
Oh, hell yeah. The chippiness. So, okay. We had a question whether or not Dom Dwyer's injured. I'm going to look that up real quick because I was not privy to that. Because I believe he played in their last few games. If I'm not mistaken.
See this. I mean, to Joe's point, I'm going to say 4-1 Atlanta as we find our finishing once again. I could see this being a pivotal game for either team moving towards the second half of the season. More so for Orlando to catch a beat if they start to rally around some new call to arms or whatever, if they do pull out the win. But for Atlanta to really go in there and kick Orlando while they're down, pull out the win, and do so convincingly to remedy some of the missteps that they've had in recent weeks, aside from the 2-0 Columbus game on the road. They go in there and really blow them out, start to find a rhythm and get on pace and on track at home in front of what is sure to be rowdy and raucous crowd at Mercedes-Benz. That could be monumental for Barco. I mean, talking about him not feeling confident or not finding, like if Barco comes out and has a hell of a game, if the offense starts clicking and everybody kind of just goes in there and takes care of business in a rivalry setting, that's a lot of momentum going into the back half of the season for a team that's already leading the Supporters Shield race.
No, I agree with you. And it's even better to be able to bury your rival that much further below you.
Right. And it's
right now it's a 15-point gap. Is that right? 34-19?
I believe so.
That's just astonishing.
It really is. It really is.
That makes me feel pretty damn good. Dom Dwyer is available, by the way. They don't have Yoshi Yotun.
Right. I knew that Yoshi was injured. I didn't know that Dwyer was back.
So to which point, who played in Yotun's place against Montreal on Saturday?
Oh, dude, don't ask me that. Because of the World Cup, all of my MLS viewing has gone to pot. So
just a second. I will pull this up. Let's see who's Oriol Rosell. He's playing for him. Yeah, so their lineup from last week was obviously Bendik in the back, Lamina Sane, Jonathan Spector, Amro Tarek in the back 3. And then 5 across, you have the wife beater Will Johnson on the right, Sasha Kleshin and Oriol Rosell in the middle, and then Toya on the left, Justin Miram, Dwyer, and Jesus Coleman.
I think Miram is probably the weak link on that top front. He just seems to be boxed out from club and country, so to speak, on that team that nobody, I mean, there's a big issue in that locker room and within that supporters group. And I think that can be exposed. But again, the link up, if we're going to talk about counters and moving forward between Kleshin and Dwyer, pushing and exposing Atlanta, and if Will Johnson continues to take dives and maybe gets one of those called, who knows what happens.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I could see Kleshin playing the playing that Valeri role, but probably in a less, obviously he has less speed. He doesn't cover ground as well as Diego Valeri does. And he's maybe not as dynamic, but the service that he gives to Dom Dwyer is pretty stellar most of the time. And Dom Dwyer, he's so quick, he's small, he's going to be able to dodge people, he's going to be able to get behind defenses.
And they just announced their new coach yesterday, right? Is that right? Did they have their press conference yesterday? I thought their presser was on the 24th. I could be wrong. But nonetheless, it's either coming or has just recently happened. 2 days ago. So they're still debating it. So I guess they don't have a decision.
Yeah,
yet.
I know Caleb Porter, the Portland manager who won the cup with them a few years ago, who just stepped down. I think he kind of mutual agreement to leave Portland this year. He has interviewed for that position. So I really hope that doesn't happen, because he's a great manager, and I'd hate to see a great manager down there. I miss Jason Kreis already, even though they're still losing games without him.
I was talking to somebody about what Orlando really needs to do as a team, and it seems to be that they just need to blow the whole thing up and start from scratch.
Play their kids.
Like, I mean, really, there just doesn't seem to be any sort of identity or direction from any standpoint. You've got players that are ousted from the locker room, that are sort of taunting their own fans with their celebrations, ears plugged sort of deal, that you have that happening on the field, the coaching staff all having a mass exodus. I don't think that team knows what they are, much less anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. And Patrick Hansel, to your point, do they have kids? I guess aside from Mueller, I don't think so. I think that's pretty accurate, actually, because they let that USL license lapse last year. I do like this idea from Bill, though. He says, can we make a 2-poll of Will Johnson's angry little face? And I almost hope, I don't know if this will happen, but I hope the TiVo has that Will Johnson screaming face on it. But, the scream painting or whatever, yeah. I think that would be fantastic.
I wish that was the TiVo's, the Will Johnson scream
painting.
That would be good.
Dude, it is 9:10. We're already an hour and 6 minutes into this. We have a couple more things to cover real quick. Orlando score prediction? You don't seem too confident in this game. I think you're just being a little cautious.
I will say 2-1 Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a safe scoreline. I think we do give up one on the counter. We finally get that freaking win at Mercedes. When was the last time we won at Mercedes-Benz?
No, dude, I don't even remember.
It seems like it's been a while. No, I guess not. Against Philly. We won against Philly 3-0.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. What about you? You said 2-1 too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 2-1-2.
2-1 as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple general things. We have 6 Atlanta United players.
I hate hearing that.
In the All-Star game. Guzan, Parkhurst, Nagbe, Joseph, Miggy, and Barco.
Why did you guys do that? Why would you wish that? I mean, I guess the good thing is Tata's coaching it. He can just put them all in and then pull them all out within the 5th minute.
Put in all of the Orlando players that probably didn't make the All-Star team. I didn't look at the rest of the All-Star team. I just quickly saw this morning.
Over half of the starting 11 for the All-Star game are all Atlanta United players. And
in Atlanta.
It starts with the coach.
That's actually going to be pretty cool to see it. Pretty much Atlanta United versus Juve. I agree with Joe Johnston. I don't know, where is LGP in this lineup? He's one of the best defenders in MLS. I guess you can't have all of them in that lineup. True. And Gressel too. Gressel is one of the best wide men in MLS, and anyway, I think maybe he deserves to be in there over Barco this year, because Gressel, I think, has been one of our better players.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got? Anything else?
No, I think that's it. So what are we doing? Am I rolling a die?
Yeah. If you pull up a random number generator, if you guys just sit tight with us, I counted 22 different unique contributors outside of the Away Days promotion, Terminus Legion, the FIFA tournament, so on and so forth. So
how many different numbers you said?
22. So I've put them all into a spreadsheet, and we did a RNG, and then the numbers that get rolled, we will announce that how many do we have to do? How many prize packs were there?
3.
3? Okay.
Yep. And then our top contributors, Bina and Andy Watkins, will be we'll schedule that at some point with you guys to sit with us and record. But they were our top contributors. Thus, they get to spend a night recording with us, or a day if it's out of the game.
Okay. So what's the first number?
16. Who do we got?
16. Candace Underwood. Candace Underwood.
Candace. She's actually, this is
really
going to sound
Candace?
like, yeah, it's going to sound like a collusion, but that's one of my coworkers who donated.
That is collusion.
Yeah, it's collusion. Obviously, I mean, you have the numbers up. I'm running random number generator.
Well, this is completely separate from what I've got going on here, so you don't even know what the things are. So
okay.
All right, so Candace, I will...
Candace.
Candace. Thank you, Candace. Don't hate me for my pronunciation of your name. Okay, so win 1. All right, next one.
12.
12 is... Oh, God, I can't pronounce this last name. Julia Granacher, maybe? Granacher?
Granache. Granacher.
Yeah, they were a
Terminus
Terminus Legion contributor. So Austin or CK, if you guys could get us in touch with Julia, we'd appreciate it. And now for the last one, Tim, what you got?
We have 7.
7. Kevin Brown, our road correspondent, Kevin Brown.
It's collusion all over the place, man. It is absolute and utter collusion.
So congratulations to the 3 winners. We will have Andy and Bina. Thank you for your generous contribution. I think it was $210 to the campaign as the largest donor. So we will have them on for a couples retreat of sorts to record an episode. Maybe we'll do it live at Mercedes-Benz or something one day at a game. The other winners, Candace, thank you, Julia, and Kevin. Thank you guys so much. We'll do more of these things. We've got some other prizes for the Prediction League. You can find that at gethomebeforedark.com. We are planning some other events, which will also have drawings and stuff. If you just can't wait to get your hands on any of this stuff, go check out gethomebeforedark.com/shop, where we have stickers and hats and soon to be shirts and tanks and everything else that your heart desires. So be sure to check that out. And if you're following us on Twitter or listening to us here, you'll always be first in the know for whenever that stuff goes live. So be sure to do so. Get those notifications on your phone. Whenever we put up sticker packs or whatever, you'll get a notification. And we try not to charge too much on those things. We're just trying to at least cover the cost of supplies more than anything, and keep it reasonable so that you guys can help support the show and support each other.
Yeah.
Anything else before we close this thing out?
I don't think so. I think that's it for me. I had a great show. Thank you guys for... I know I'm saying great show to us, but I mean to
great
you guys,
show, Trap.
Yeah, thank you guys for as always for being such loyal family members in the trap.
You guys are family members, and side note to being family members, I'm constantly having these anecdotes and stories about moments where this community challenges my assumptions or expectations about what this show could have been or would have been 5+ years ago whenever we started, or even what this Atlanta United centric show would be and what this team has done. And no better time than this past weekend. Hung out with Patrick and Andy and Bina and Kendrick, and had a World Cup watch party with friends that we met through the show. I know SoccerCon was going on this weekend. I hope if you guys went to that, you had a good time out there.
Yeah, it looked like an amazing event.
But again, just shout out to Patrick Keenum for hosting that event. That was awesome. We had a great time. And yeah, man, like I said, every week I am just blown away by the love and support and just being able to get together and hang out more than anything.
Agreed. Norma McCone in the trap asking how much is an average donation. So whenever we were doing the Clarkston fundraiser, I would say our average donation ended up being over $50 probably.
Yeah, we had a few $100 donations.
If you take the 600 from away to 700 away from away days, and then also the 400 or 500 600 that we did for the FIFA tournament, you take those away, it's probably close. It's between 50 and 75. I
can tell you right now, actually, if you just tap dance for me, Tim, for just a second. I thought I could, but I couldn't.
No, Kevin's pretty slow to draw.
Yeah, I'm sure it's at least somewhere between probably $50, $75 average donation, which was awesome. And kids had a great time, made it to regionals, and have traveled and returned safe and sound, which is great.
Hell yeah. It won't be the last time we send them somewhere. Those kids are awesome. We also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this too.
That's right.
We met the coach from the high school varsity team, the high school varsity boys team from Clarkston High School. And, we saw a shirt at the Jeff Lorenowitz signing, and we shouted him out on the show. And he came over and he was like, I heard you guys saying something about Clarkston. So we started talking about the Clarkston FC team. Turned out he says those kids are pretty much his JV team, and they filter into through the ranks and play for him at the varsity level a few years later. So it's pretty awesome the way that development's going over there.
So if you do want to Joe's point, if you guys do want to catch up with us, you can normally find out where we're going to be at, whether we're doing live broadcast from the tailgates or live broadcast from Elder Tree, wherever you
or in the concourse. I mean, I'll make no bones about it. I'm in section 120, so I'm usually out there before the game, either meeting people or going and stuffing my face with cheap food. Come and find me.
DMs are open, guys. Slide into them. We'll make sure to link up and hang out. And yeah, be sure to keep letting us know what you think of the show. Still no new ratings or reviews on iTunes.
It's been a dry spell of about a month.
And this is a critical timeline, guys. Just like last time, I have full expectations of breaking into that top 3 of Orlando City podcasts, and we need your help to do so. So as many ratings and reviews go, you guys might have gotten your husbands or wives' phones last time to throw a couple ratings or reviews onto the page. Go grab your parents, or, if you've got teenage kids, they're always plugged into their phone. I'm sure they have an iTunes account. Go grab their phone, go to the podcast, hit 5 stars. Want to push that SEO, push that rankings in the database so that we can lead the Orlando City charts as we lead the charge.
I love it.
To remain the Kings of the South.
Yeah. It will come to the supporter section at some point this year, Bill. Go and hang out with you guys and cheer it. It always feels weird.
Tim doesn't drink, though. I don't know how he feels about getting soaking in through his pores.
Getting beer thrown on me. I'm all right with it. I use CBD oil. It's fine. It doesn't get you high, and then that doesn't get you drunk. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
So, okay, last time for real this time. In closing, you can find us all on Twitter. Tim, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Tim Herb, TIMHERB.
You can find Dan as well. Please go wish him congratulations. We're so happy for him. Even if he can't be here, we send him all of our best. Go find him on Twitter at DNJMS. Find me as well at The Architect. That's at D_ARC1TECT. Find us collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Again, DMs are open. Let us know if you want to hang out, grab a drink or a hot dog at Mercedes-Benz, or if you're out wandering the Gulch and just need somebody to shoot the shit with, we're always welcome. You're always welcome. Said that wrong. Nonetheless, we'll see you guys next time. As always, be home before dark.
Bye, guys.
Orlando's not the fucking South.
Orlando is not the South.